We are so excited to have some special guests here on the show, and we don't want to wait any longer to bring in our first guest. So before we do that, I want to introduce you to him. He's the #1 tight end in this class, and it's not often that we name a tight end a 5-star, but when you're as talented as Linkon Cure, you earn that recognition. The Kansas native is currently the highest ranked commit all time for Kansas State. Let's tell you a little bit more about him as a prospect. Again, he is the top-ranked tight end and the second highest prospect from the state of Kansas, the number 32 overall player. Let's go ahead and welcome in the man himself. Linkon Cure is here on our National Signing Day show. And Linkon, I have to start here. There has been some rumors today, so set the record straight. Where will you be suiting up this next fall?
Yeah, there was. I had an awesome visit last weekend at the University of Oregon, and leaving Oregon, there was a lot of rumors about some decisions I was going to make. If I was going to make the flip, and yeah, honestly, I thought about it a lot. I didn't sleep last night. I was thinking about it all night. Even had a graphic made, but I kept reminding myself. I took all those visits as a junior and, took all those OVs, and I really thought my whole process through. And, I kind of had to remind myself of that, of what I committed to, what my values were, and what really mattered to me, and, who I wanted to be as a person, who I wanted to be as a player. So I'll be sticking with Kansas State.
All right, there you have it. Linkon Cure will stay home and go to Kansas State. And Linkon, I remember talking to you on your commitment a while back, and you discussed just how important the school was to you and your family growing up, going to games in Manhattan. And I want to ask you about this moment that you referenced. You were in section 227, seat 18, and that is when you knew that Kansas State was the school for you. So what does it mean to now have arrived here on signing day and making it official with the Wildcats?
It truly means everything, especially for it being a childhood dream, and having that moment in the stands. That's where my whole process started. Was at K-State at a camp on June 9th, and that's when they offered me June 10th, the day after. So yeah, they were the first ones to believe in me. Didn't have much sophomore film. I was injured, and all I had was basketball and track, and they decided to take a chance on me, and they never stopped recruiting me hard, and that really stuck out to me. So yeah, it honestly really means everything. I'm truly happy with my decision. Yeah, it's all glory to God.
You mentioned that Kansas State took a chance on you early on because you didn't have a whole lot of film. Once you did get film, we got a hold of it here at 24/7 Sports, and let me tell you, our director of scouting, Andrew Ivins, has you on his freaks list, and a big reason for calling you a freaky athlete is all your work farming. What are you, cleaning auger pits, building fences, all that fun background? How does that maybe help you on the football field?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a lot of movements that you wouldn't usually do. It's kind of like being a multi-sport athlete. You're working all kinds of muscles, and yeah, I mean that the job I had in the summer cleaning out that auger pit, that was probably the hardest yet, and I think that was my last job ever that I had to do those, but because I will be at college from now on. So glad it happened, happy it's over. Yeah, it's truly helped me with everything. So yeah, I truly appreciate it, and it's really taught me a lot.
Yeah, I can't imagine Kansas State will be asking you to do that much, but they are looking forward to having you on the football field. Linkon Cure, thank you so much for joining us on this show. You heard it. Linkon Cure, 5-star tight end, will be sticking with Kansas State. And somebody that has been all over this news throughout the cycle is our friend Tom Loy, national recruiting analyst, who is in Nashville for us. And Tom, you heard him mention it. They had a graphic made. So how close was this potential flip to Oregon for Linkon Cure?
I mean, we had a graphic made. This was as close to a done deal as you can imagine. When he left Oregon, he made it very clear to me that the Ducks were the team to beat. They were in a great position. And then things started to change as we got closer to the decision and really getting closer to signing day. He was struggling. I mean, he and I had a lot of conversations over the last couple of days, and he was very open and honest about his struggles in this decision. You can tell it was very emotional. There was long nights. The kid lost sleep. I mean, this is the biggest, most difficult decision of his young life. And in the end, I think he really went back and settled on, I want to be putting on for my home state, for my family, for my friends, and I want to put on for Kansas and everything that his values and his morals, everything about him really hits home with Kansas State. And now, he loved Oregon. I'm telling you, this kid really, really wanted to be a Duck at one point. He was excited about how they were going to use him in the offense. He loved that coaching staff in Eugene. But in the end, home is where he felt most comfortable and confident. And this is a massive win for the Wildcats.
Yeah, let's talk about that. It's their highest ranked commit of all time. I am sure that staff there is breathing a sigh of relief hearing Linkon Cure has decided to stick with the Wildcats. What does this mean for this Kansas State program and maybe this class as a whole?
It's massive, and it shows that they have the recruiting chops to go toe-to-toe with the best of the best in the country. I mean, it was very much laid out to him. Hey, you can pick Oregon early on, and then you can transfer a year later if you're homesick, if you're not happy, if promises are not met, whatever the case may be. The tough decision was to go to Oregon, but in the end, I think the tough decision was to stay home and play at Kansas State because he was so excited about Oregon. But really what it means is that Kansas State is very much in play for the best of the country. They will pony up when it comes to NIL. They will pony up and really take that next level to try to get closer to winning national championships and compete at the highest level. So very exciting time to be a Kansas State fan. I know Avery Johnson's got to be excited that Linkon Cure is coming to town. So it's a big win. And again, a couple days ago, I wouldn't have guessed this. My crystal ball was on Oregon, and then I wanted to flip it back to Kansas State. What a wild couple of days, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, we are just getting started here on National Signing Day. Tom Loy, thank you so much for breaking that down for us. Let's head back here in studio to Nashville, or to Fort Lauderdale. I need to figure out where I am at some point today. Cooper, I know that you've seen endless tape of this guy. I know we love to call Andrew Ivins the tight end guy, but you've seen Linkon Cure play football. How excited should Kansas State fans be about getting this kid on campus?
Really excited about the player, but to beat Oregon, Dan Lanning, Phil Knight in the 11th hour before signing day, that's a really difficult task to do as well. So that says a lot about Kansas State and their alignment. But in terms of the player, 6'6", 220 pounds, and you think about a guy that can come in early, catch balls from Avery Johnson, can do a little bit of everything. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Carter Nelson last year from Nebraska. You talk about this rural background, but the basketball player, dynamic, another guy that had 1,000 yards receiving, also had 3 INTs. He can do a lot of different things. I think the receiver skill set is what stands out. I think being able to attach him as a willing blocker, as a traditional Y, won't be an issue either. So dynamic kid, a guy that you don't see a lot of at Kansas State, but that lends well for the Wildcats, and a guy that should be able to make an impact early.
And obviously, I think to hold on to him, like Coop said, to hold on to him, to beat Oregon. When Oregon made that late push, we've seen Oregon ruin a lot of classes for a lot of schools over the years. Down the stretch, they come in, and especially being the #1 team in the country, showing all that momentum this year. But for Kansas State to hold on, and what a big victory for Chris Klieman, for Avery Johnson. He's now got this big body target that he can get the ball to. This is a guy that is not just expected to come in and play as a true freshman. He's expected to come in and make a big impact as a true freshman. So to hold on to him, to keep the in-state guy there, especially as conference realignment has changed everything and it's made parts of the country even more exploitable for a lot of these schools. I think this is just a big victory, not just from a talent standpoint, but from a morale standpoint for Kansas State.
You mentioned how Oregon has been able to go in and flip some prospects. Not able to do it here with Linkon Cure, but we're going to get you caught up on what's happened coming into this day. And yes, Oregon will be brought up